Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon. Welcome to the Project Portfolio Management session. Here, we're excited to talk to you about how to get started with your PPM journey within Strategic Portfolio Management. As everybody joins in, we'll give some folks a minute here. But if in the chat you can tell us where you are in the beautiful world, where are some of the folks chatting from, joining us from? Fort Lauderdale, Cincinnati, New Jersey, from India. Oh, this is great. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to have you here. Costa Rica, too. Very, very nice. Hopefully the weather is cooperative where everyone is. Welcome, everyone. I see a few more folks coming in. Heart emoticons already. I love it. All right, we're fired up. We've got a great session here to talk about. I'll give folks another minute. 23 degrees and sunny. That's good. On the other hand, welcome again. All right. Let's just take a toll. We've got some more folks coming in. Welcome everybody who's joining us from all over the world. Welcome to the PPM discussion within Strategic Portfolio Management. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone. A few housekeeping rules before we get started. There is plenty of time for questions and answers during the presentation as well as after. However, we ask that during the presentation you use the Q&A feature that is in the Zoom and not the chat to ask your questions. We have a team who's ready to reply to your questions. So again, please use that Q&A feature so that we can answer your questions in a timely manner. The session will be recorded and we will post the session on the ServiceNow community, which is within the SPM Product Hub page of community after a few days. So it will be available for you to review. And then after the session, we do have a quick short survey and we welcome your feedback. This really helps us to understand how the content was, as well as continue these sessions going forward. Today's session is a part of Live on ServiceNow, which is a curated event series to connect you with ServiceNow experts as well as peers within the ecosystem, which can help you deploy your products and achieve value faster. We really hope that you join us again for another webinar or a meetup, and you can easily schedule by scanning the QR code or using this link that we have in the, we'll share it in today's chat. So we hope to see you at other events. As with all of our external presentations, we do need to inform our audience of the safe harbor notice for forward-looking statements. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements that are based on our beliefs and assumptions and on information currently available to us only as of the date of this presentation. And so again, welcome. Thanks for joining us. My name is Amel Chakra. I am a senior manager, part of the product management team for Strategic Portfolio Management, and I am based in sunny San Diego. And I have here my colleague, Shuan, and he is on the product success. He's a product success manager and based out in India. Before we get started, I'd like to take a quick poll to gauge the audience, specifically your transformation journey as a collective. And so the question is, does your company have a formal project portfolio management process for work? And if so, what applications do you use? So the poll should be up. One, if there's no formal process or tooling. Two, you do have a process with multiple tools and maybe a little on the lower maturity side. Three, if you have a formal process and high maturity with multiple applications, not including PPM within ServiceNow. And then four, if you have a very formal process with high maturity and a lot of different tools, including PPM for ServiceNow. So just give folks a few more seconds here.
And
Thank you all
Emil,
for joining in
I
on the poll.
must say we have around 70% participation, so I'll
Yeah,
give another 10 more seconds and then I will share the poll as well.
thanks, Sean. That would be great.
Okay, let me end the poll and with that, let me share the results. I hope you can see it, Emil. Otherwise,
Well, we can't see it.
no problem. I think the good,
That's
uh,
okay. We can
yeah,
talk through it.
yeah.
So we have about 7% who are number one, no formal process. 45% number two, there is a process, but a little bit on the lower maturity. Oh, thank you. They can see it. 18% of you around three formal process, but not ServiceNow, and 30% a formal process, including ServiceNow, which is great. We have a great mix. Thank you. All right. And with that, I'll kick it off to you, Sean.
Thank you. Thanks, Emil. Hi, everyone. So let's do a deeper dive into how PPM looks like when we talk about the overall strategic planning portfolio management. And before we do that, first let's understand how does the overall SPM environment looks like. So there are three distinct steps to plan, prioritize, and track work in the context of your business objectives and give everyone visibility. The first one to start with the plan. With this, you can roadmap your strategies to maximize the outcome. Next one is align. You need to align the investment to implement your strategies. The last but not the least, the deliver. You need to deliver work using any methodologies. And I think this is the key area where we will be focusing because this is where the project management primarily stays. So overall, using these three methods, you will be able to drive the digital transformation, track business outcomes, and align the organization to the business objectives, giving everyone the right visibility at the right time. Moving on, so let's understand whatever we do in any organization, at the end, we are trying to do that to achieve the value. The next point which comes into play, there are different methods, different ways to achieve the value, but as a key, if you see on the top right, let me point that out. So these are the five key pillars what we consider to achieve the value and how these pillars are available. Let's look into that. Let's start with the strategy. So strategies are something which comes from the higher ups, mostly the leadership team members, and they are the ones who decide the kind of goals they have decided or the objective key results for the organization, which may include number of KPIs, and as part of that, the kind of strategic roadmap what they have. And considering the fact the funding is going to play a key role to drive all or to achieve all the objective, to achieve all the goals, to get into the right direction with your strategic roadmap. So these are the three key things which falls within the strategies. But how they decide the strategies, there are many ways, but one of the ways where they think about the application or the IT landscape, what they have in place. So these are the places they think about as part of the strategy. Do they want to move from point A to point C? Point A to point C might be they are using some legacy systems. Do they want to move with more market standard solutions like ServiceNow is one of them, indeed, or they would like to upgrade just to make sure whatever the version they are using, it's not running out of the maintenance as part of the contract and all this stuff. So these are the different places from which are going to help them out defining their strategies. All these strategies are something which are going to drive the different investments. And here in SPM, when we talk about the investment, these can be your demands, these can be your product feedback, considering your organization is one of those organizations who are more uh, product mindset, right? So product feedback is one of the channel where you get multiple feedback on your product, you convert them into idea, and then to get the idea in the execution mode, you put that in the pipeline. Similarly, within this SPM, we do have the demand, the ideation, and the digital portfolio management, which can help filling up the pipeline. Once we have all these things in place, that is where we try to align. Align is nothing more of the continuous planning, because we are getting number of things, considering the pipeline, considering where they are going to generate the value, how those are aligned with your overall goals, organization goals, or the objective and the key results. You are going to prioritize them. You are going to develop the delivery roadmap depending on the capacity and the funding available. Once we decide the things which we are going to deliver, and that is where the key part comes into play. This blue box, if you talk about, this is the build. You can also call it more of the execution, and that is where the project management comes into play. Where whatever we have agreed, whatever we have decided, we are going to run as part of a project. You might be having different type of executions. In a way, you might decide to go ahead with the waterfall or the agile or the hybrid. All are the different approaches, and we support all of them. Once we deliver the project, when then we move into the run and maintenance part, then the services, where any kind of issues, concerns, we take care as part of the incidents or the problems, then the change management. At the end, what we are going to consider the kind of benefits, the kind of value, what we have generated as part of the overall delivery. Because as I started with my statement, value is the key, but how we come to that level is the whole life cycle, which is being supported by the SPM. Just to reiterate, today our focus is more going to be the delivery portion about the project management, which is going to be part of this blue box. And out of our 5 phases, the build phase is what we will be considering. Now, the key point, let's understand the importance of the project portfolio management by having clarity around why do we need the PPM processes at all. So PPM offers a centralized view of all work, ensuring that everything is strategically aligned to enhance your business value. It aids in prioritizing the key goals, objectives, and the OKRs, and helps define and fund the investment to achieve these targets. Additionally, PPM provides visibility into plan through an outcome-driven roadmap, enabling the real-time progress tracking and seamless collaboration with the business partner. It also ensures that the right people are assigned to the right task at the right time, optimizing the resource utilization, which is going to help you optimizing the cost. Furthermore, PPM supports the multiple methodologies, integrating task and the resource planning into a unified experience. And when I talk about the unified experience, we are going to do a deeper dive as part of our project management workspace. But in summary, PPM in ServiceNow Strategic Portfolio Management helps us strategically align our work, prioritize our goal, track our progress, optimize our resources, and adapt to various methodologies, ultimately driving the significant business value what we just spoke about. So here it's more of nothing but more of the PMI definition of what project management is all about. If I will have to summarize, the any activity as part of a project management which include the defined scope, identify deliverables, where you have the option to manage your risks, issues, and depending on them, you have the option to take the decisions, as part of a decision, the actions, and then the changes, just to make sure you have the effective communication across the team. Why? Because you want to deliver something which in turn is going to generate more value as part of that initiative. So that is what the project management as part of the PMI definition. But what is not project management? I think this is also important to understand. Otherwise, mixing up the things, many times when we talk to our customer, when we have our discussions with them, many times this confusion arises. So we thought it's always better to clarify what is not project management. Anything which is more operational, like ongoing or repetitive tasks, or any activity without a defined start and the end date, should not be considered as a project management activity. We have spoken about the why, we have spoken about the what, but let's also understand how the PPM processes is going to are going to help you out. It makes sure the kind of things what it provides, provides you the appropriate knowledge, the tools and the techniques to manage the project activities in order to meet the project requirement. At the same time, it ensures while you are going to execute your project, you keep within the budget, you finish the things on time, you stay within the scope, and also manage your constraint at the same time uh, without having impact on your the value of the delivery. At the same time, it also optimizes the project objective through a set of activities which start and end at the certain point in time and produce the qualifiable deliverables. Moving on, I think we have spoken enough about how PPM sits within the SPM. So now the time to more getting into the PPM processes. So at any given point of time, when we get into the process, I think the first part which comes into play, the different personas or the roles. So very high level within the PPM, we do have a process owner, the PMO office, project managers, team members. We do have the sponsorship, and then we all need funding to execute the work, and that is where the sponsorship comes into play. Primarily, it ties with the portfolio managers or your sponsoring organization. And then we also have a business relationship manager. I'm not going through the details. Considering you have everything on the screen, these are the quite basic terms what we are using. So I don't want to make it repetitive. This is how the high level project management process looks like, where within the SPM, as part of the PPM, these are the five key phases what we have: initiate, plan, execute, delivering, and the close. Then the different activities. Initiate at a high level. I'm not sure how many of you have attended our other earlier session, which was more focused on the demand management, which is part of one level earlier than the project management. And once your demands are getting approved, it gets converted into project. If you have missed it out, no worries. I will post the URL in the chat so you can have the access to it. Coming back to the initiating phase, once the demand is getting approved, we agreed, decided to go ahead with the investments. Your project entity gets created. As a project manager, you have to make sure you fill in the few details, or you make sure how you want to execute the project, the kind of approach what you are going to take, the project. If the project is associated or part of a program or a portfolio, make them you have that level of visibility. The project which you are running, if it is aligned to the right strategies and the goals, please make sure you do so. If you don't, you are going to miss a lot in terms of the visibility. Planning, that is where we plan out the whole things. How are we going to execute? In summary, you can have, if you are more in the waterfall or in the agile, Either you think about the work breakdown structure or the epic or the stories to plan your work. You start identifying any kind of risks or the issues. You start, once you plan the different set of tasks, you start assigning those tasks to the different team members. Execute. Once you get into the execution, we continue to make sure how my project is doing. And as part of that, we do have the option to track it as part of a project status report. We continue to monitor our budget. Are we over budget, under budget, on track, not on track? How are we performing as part of the risk or the issues, and have the clear communication with our stakeholders? Delivering is something where we start deploying the things in more in a generic term. So at this time, we have to make sure whatever tasks or the milestones we have agreed, are they on track? Have we delivered? And this is the place where we start completing our task. Close, nothing much. Once done everything, the transition happens. We start taking the baselines as part of a different stage gates or different phases, if you would like to call. We start analyzing some of the benefits. Depends again. What are the benefits can be analyzed at the time of the closure of a project, and then how did we perform? And these are the key 5 phases in the project management. I don't want to spend much time, but I want on the screenshots and all, but I want to give you the high level overview. You do have an option to track the different dates of your project, some details to identify. Then you have what we call as a related list, where you can find the risk, issues, decisions, status report, all the associated information with the project. Moving on, we do have, as I said, we do have a single place, what we call as a project management workspace. This is how it looks like. When we will come to the demo, we will do more deeper dive. This is quick overview of the planning, how the overall plan for a project looks like within a project workspace. You do have option to plan the things. You do have option to edit multiple tasks. You do have the option just to drag and drop and having or creating the dependency one of the other task on the other, and also to change the duration. Good thing is the performance of a new project management workspace is too good, where you can easily manage around 10,000 of tasks in the project management workspace. It gives you the option to track your RIDAC, a short form of the risk, issues, decision, action, and the change requests. Same view, but you have a dedicated view of the RIDAC within the project management workspace. Then comes the project status report when we talk about the execution, how are we performing overall. You do have an option to indicate the different health indicators depending on the different areas, like how the overall project is doing, how are you performing in terms of the scoping, in terms of the scheduling, in terms of the resources, in terms of the financials. You get uh, tracking of all these things. We do have a dedicated place where you can track your financials. Financials can be of 3 types at a high level. Number one, the planned cost, the planning which you are going to do, how much, primarily the estimate, how much the specific thing is going to cost you. Depending on that plan, you are going to ask for funding if it is changing or if it is more than already funded or the budget you have. Once you start the project, kick off the project, it is going to incur the number of expenses on your project. So you do have an option to track your expenses as well. Again, very high level screenshot. We will do a deeper dive during our demo. Project resourcing. It also gives you an option where you can request your resources, where you can check which resource is available for how much time, what are all the places they have. And for all these things, we have a different workspace, what we call a resource management workspace. With that, just one last thing before I get into the demo. Some of the leading practices. Let's not make things complex. Sometimes we think more the complexity or more the things we are going to share with our stakeholders, it may bring more transparency. No, be concise, keep the things simple. In that way, also, we can give the right visibility and the transparency to our stakeholders. Prevent the stage gating process. In a way, things can work in parallel. There is no need for you to stop working till the time the earlier work is not completed, and that is where the dependencies come into play, the critical path comes into play. Please make sure to the way you are making the progress, you do have the right notification system in place to keep your stakeholders informed so they are aware which part of the project is currently being executed, things which are happening. Please leverage out of the box project status report or the portal what we have to drive and engage as part of your adoption. And we always encourage our project managers to make use of a project workspace. Why? Let's look into that. Okay, so uh, if you go to the workspaces, so just to let you all know, I'm currently in the Xanadu version. Yeah, I'm using the Xanadu one. So when you go to the workspace, you will have something as a project workspace. When you open this up, you are going to see this screen where it is going to give you the option to view all the projects. You can filter it out uh, on which project you would like to search. For this, I am going to pick up the one here. And then let me start with the details. So why I'm picking up the detail? To align with what we just discussed about the initiating phase. So in the project workspace, you have the planning, you have the details, a separate section for the financials, to maintain your risk, issues, decision, action, and the change request. You have your own analytics, more
Oh,
specific to,
Shimon, sorry, we just stopped seeing your screen.
oh, my bad. Give me a minute. Thank you, ML, for highlighting
Absolutely.
that. I hope it's up now.
It is, yes.
Okay, let me restart. So when we go to the workspaces, we have something as a project workspace. When you click on that, you will be redirected to this page. And from here, you can pick up any of the projects you would like to pick, or if you go to the My Project, you will find the ones you are managing. From here, today's demo, I'm going to pick this one up. Here, uh, you have the different sections: planning, details, financials, write deck, analytics, docs, and the status report. I'm going to start with the details one. So this is more aligned with the initiative phase of the project, because when the project gets created from a demand, as a project manager, I will have to make sure I have the right details in place. I have to make sure the dates which have come from the demand to the project life cycle, I am all aligned with that. I have the right business case, why I am going to execute this project to bring more clarity. Down the line, from demand to the project management lifecycle, you may have the improvement which gives you the better clarity around the business case and the risk. Then you have the financial tab where you will get the high level information about your plan costs, the capex, opex, the budget, and all this stuff. Again, all these things are pretty much configurable. So what you are seeing on my screen, but if you have a different use case, it is pretty much configurable. You can pick up the fields which you are using as part of your processes in your organization. When we move to the planning, this is where what we normally call a work breakdown structure, which comes into play. This is nothing. During the whole life cycle of my project, what are all the things I am going to execute? These are also being called as set of tasks. You do have some available templates which you can pick from out of the box templates, but you do have a feasibility to have or define your own templates to bring more consistent ways of working. Here, you have the option. These are the different tasks. You have the Gantt chart view over here. You can easily define the dependency of one task on the another one. You can just drag and drop. You can change the duration. You can change the start and the end date just by dragging and dropping it all. So as a PM, when we talk about the planning, it is important we define how these tasks are going to be executed in the project life cycle. Once we are done with that, you do have an option to also plan for your resources. You see a toggle bar here. Till the time it is turned off, I do not have any option, but the time I'm going to turn it on, I will see a separate window over here, which is going to give me the resource detail. If I select the project here, I will see these are the resource requests where I have raised a resource request to the resource manager to get the resources from an RM. And to do a more detailed overview around this, I'm going to have a resource management workspace where we will talk about it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your patience and apologize from my side as well. So we were talking about the resourcing. So resourcing, for the resource assignment, you do have a toggle button. If you turn it off, you will not see the resourcing window. If you turn it on, you will have an additional window where you can see all your resource allocations. To ask for the resource, you do have an option to add the resource. You can pick up what kind of group is what we call, or the pool in general you are going to pick, and then the number of FTE you need as part of this request, and it is going to create a resource request and start going to create the different asks across the duration depending on the start and the end date. I will talk about the resource management workspace quickly over here, because when these requests are going to get into the resource manager's queue, to take care of that, as a resource manager, I do have a different workspace. So here, if I open one of the resource cards is what we call, it is going to give me the list of all the resources and list of open requests. Here I will just to highlight these two requests I have raised for the HR pool, one for the 1FT, one for the 0.550. So this is a place I'm getting the request, and I do have an option to assign the work. I can pick up the resource and hit the assign button. So this is how you can request the resources. You can get them allocated to work on your project. Moving on, the financials. Financials is a place, as I mentioned earlier, you do have an option to plan your costs, to identify how much budget you have, and to track your expenses as well. Just for the demo purpose, I have group them in the capex as well as the opex. So here you see in the capex, I do have some of the costs which are nothing more of my resourcing costs. But if you look at the numbers, everything is coming over here as zero because I do not have any rate cards available in the system, which is going to help me populating the costs. But on the other side, if you look at these two, I have something, the new operating cost, where I have the plan cost of somewhere around 18K. Now, in this place, you do have an option where you can create your new cost plan. Okay, let's say the licensing cost. I just want to have one. What would be the duration for that? I can select the duration. I'm going to start with the FY25, and let's say from Jan till FY25. I would like to have till December. And then the unit cost, let's say I'm going to say 200K, and the number of quantity, I'm going to have 100. How do I want to do the cost distribution? Do you want to do it the split as a equal across the period or the recurring? Here I'm going to have the same across the period. It is going to be the same. And then I say this is going to be my software OPEX and save. Once I do that, you should be able to see I'm going to have a new line item over here, the licensing cost. This is nothing more of my plan cost, and it is going to contribute the plan cost over here. At the same time, assuming some expenses are going to get incurred, so I do have an option to start taking care of my expenses in the month of, let's say, though I'm talking in the it's still the February, but just for the demo purpose, I'm going to put something in the April. So I got the actual cost of 1,000 license due date. I'm going to put in future. Not a good practice, but just for the demo purpose, right? For the April month. This is the process state is going to be where the actuals are going to get incurred. State, I say process, and I will select the cost plan. So here I can actually associate this is going to be the expense against which cost plan. So here I'm selecting the licensing cost one and I'll click on the save button. Okay, because I'm trying to do it on the future month, it is not allowing me. But in summary, you do have an option to create your expense line and tag them against the specific cost plan. So you will always have a view of the plan as well as the actuals. Moving on to the RIDAC, this is a place where you do have an option of one specific view to track all your risk issues, decision actions and all. If you would like to create something new, you can create from this drop down. Then we do have the analytics specific to the project what you are working on. This is out of the box. So here you will see how the overall status looks like, the percentage complete, the number of issues or the write-backs, the stories if you have any, the task by states. Then you do have the status report as well. So here I have created the two status reports, right? So in the status report, it does capture some basic information from the project at the time of creation and then gives you an option to select how you would like to rate the overall status of your project. It can be green, amber, or green, yellow, or red. You can also define against multiple dimensions. How are you performing in terms of the schedule, in terms of the cost, in terms of the resources, and the scope of your project. And depending on that, you can decide how the overall health status looks like for your project. We do have a new component, docs. It is going to help you out in defining any kind of documentation for the specific project. So instead, you go ahead, keep them outside of your system or outside of the service. Now, might be one example in the Excel, in the SharePoint. Instead of doing that, you can actually start putting the things within the docs of the project. So with that, ML, I would like to hand it over to you to talk about the next slides about the resources what we have in place.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that, Shimon. Really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see.
I can see your
Oh,
mailbox.
how about now?
Yes, all good.
All right, beautiful. All right. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about the training enablement that we have. We've outlined a series of enablement here for you. And again, we will be posting this under our SPM community page. You'll be able to find the recording as well as the PDF with these links for your review and access a few days after the session. But here you'll find some of our top short video series, including our Getting Started with SPM, Demand Management, Project and Program Management, and other video series for you. We also have our product documentation, so please check that out, as well as I mentioned our community, and this is where you'll find all of the things, including the events and any updated articles. So be sure to subscribe on our community, as well as our user groups. And I'll talk a little bit about our user groups, but just a sneak peek, we like to call these SNUGs, ServiceNow user groups, and we have one all over the world. So be sure to check out your local snug in a city near you. And again, you can find more on our community. Now that we've covered a little bit of that, let's talk about how we can make sure that your path to success is backed up by the right expertise and a strong network. First, we're very fortunate to have an incredible expert services team that can bring exclusive insights and best practices to guide you. With experience from hundreds of successful implementations, we make sure that your approach is always aligned with your business goals and making sure that things are value driven every step of the way. We also benefit from a global network of business and technology experts through our trusted partner ecosystem. These partnerships bring industry expertise and pre built solutions that can help accelerate your journey and make sure that your platform evolves as your business grows. And with our co delivery strategy, you'll have the best of both worlds. So, this is our deep platform knowledge combined with our partners' expertise, which ensures a seamless execution, technical excellence, and ultimately real lasting value. As we continue to explore how to ensure success, I also want to highlight something important, and that is being able to build the capabilities of your own team, hence self implement. If your company is looking to skill up on your own implementation team, we've got a wealth of resources designed to empower you. First, we recommend leveraging our Now Learning portal. It's a fantastic place to help your teams build their skills, learn how to use and configure our solutions, and get up to speed quickly. Next, we have our Now Create, which can deliver SPM solutions just like our own experts do. We have a methodology that provides structure so that everyone's aligned and working in the same prescribed manner, driving consistent and successful results, including success packs and other assets to support you every step of the way. And of course, our vibrant SPM community. This is where you can connect, share experiences, and find creative and unique solutions that are fully supported by our SPM capabilities. I mentioned our Snugs, ServiceNow user groups, and be sure to check one out in a city near you. And don't forget to subscribe on our Product Hub page for the latest and greatest updates from product. Now, just as important as having a configured solution and the right network to help with your journey, it's important to make sure that your company is prepared for change in ways of working. And to support this, ServiceNow offers valuable guidance in building your organizational change management OCM plan and helping you craft a business case that's value driven and positions you to gain executive alignment and support. We also provide templates to efficiently communicate those changes throughout your organization, which helps make the transition smoother for everyone. And to ensure that you are on track, we do recommend you take full advantage of our Now Value methodology. This will help you measure progress and align your efforts and your goals to make sure that you focus on what matters the most. And so, kind of covering the foundational steps, I know this is a lot of text heavy, but I just want to briefly touch on how ServiceNow recommends building an effective OCM communication plan. And we've outlined here for you. And this plan should really help define what it is and its role in driving the change, being able to define your target audience and the messaging, as well as what it should include. So, ensuring clear and consistent messaging in terms of what is important and who needs to be involved, right? Making sure those right people are aligned and of course what good looks like, so that you can measure the impact and the success of communications. And as you continue to develop your plan, remember being mindful of our audience. Different personas will be impacted in different ways by the change. So, continue to message, ensure your messaging speaks directly to their purpose and highlighting how crucial their role is in the success of transformation. We've outlined some information here for.
ML, maybe quick
Yes,
one. I think your
yeah.
screen is having a reminder, so you should just dismiss
Oh,
that.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry about that. I should have shut things off. Thanks for letting me know now.
No problem.
Now that you're familiar with the success resources that we offer, I highly recommend taking the next steps. And so we've outlined here the resources again with easy clicks. So everything that I just went over, you'll be able to have access to that once we post this on our community. So be sure to check out these links, including the community and our learning materials that we post, and all the good tools that we have for your journey.